In this video, I am joined by Seymour Duck and Mr. Webba. We are talking about these Tiana gift bags, goodies, or whatever that all these influencers and media received for the Tiana Bayou Adventure event. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Nielsen numbers. We're going to talk about Alamo Drafthouse being bought up by Sony. We have a lot to discuss today on this episode of OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. We have a fantastic show planned for you today. But before we get started, I want to introduce my fantastic panel. We got Mr. Seymour Duck back in the house. Seymour, it is always awesome having you on, sir.
Hello, and thank you. Yes, I'm glad to be here and nerd out once again with you guys.
Absolutely. If you could let everybody home know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, you can find me at Mr. Seymour Duck on X.
There he is. Make sure you follow this man on X. Awesome insight into financials, the financial world, but not just with Disney. If you're a Nintendo fan, you're definitely going to want to follow Mr. Duck. So check him out on X. And down below, we got our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Mr. Webba. Mr. Webba, welcome back, sir. You're looking good, man. Looking good.
Oh, gee, thank you so much. Actually, speaking of looking good, I try, but Spider-Man just got a haircut the other day, so trying to look fresh here for everybody.
Nice.
But I appreciate you having me on, and I get to nerd out with you guys again. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not only did you get a haircut, but you told us you got the eyebrow threading and everything too. You're pretty high maintenance over there, Webba.
No, I'm kind of pricey,
You know what I'm saying? All right, let's dive into our topics at hand. Okay, so this is courtesy of our friends at Thrill Geek. Actually, Clint, who runs Thrill Geek, is an awesome guy. Friends of the channel, absolutely. But so Tiana's Bayou Adventure, right? Big topic in the theme park community. Thrill Geek here says, wow, huge thank you to Walt Disney World for this amazing Tiana's Bayou Adventure goodie bag. We are so excited to ride tomorrow. We will have a better video of it over on our TikTok. And, he posted a few pictures of all the goodies that Disney gave him for, I guess they were sending these out to like the media and like influencers and what have you. There's a Loungefly backpack. We got some mouse ears, a little Tiana doll. I think there's like a little Ray the Firefly back there. Just a little gift basket, right? So here is the thing. As you can see with the comments, nice bribe. I mean, goodie bag. All the comments are coming in. We see this all the time. Okay, I see this all the time. You don't even have to get a goodie bag, and people will call you a shill, and you're being bribed, and this, that, and the other, and yada, 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 just because, hey, maybe you like something, that Disney did. Oh, God forbid, right? But Clint here is getting all kinds of stuff from people. Here's another comment that he got on his channel. This guy got bribed by Disney to talk nice things about the ride. So there's this narrative out there that because Disney is giving influencers a goodie bag full of Tiana stuff. Therefore, Disney must be trying to buy these people and get them to say nice things about Tiana's, right? Because no other company on the planet does this. I mean, this is super suspect, guys. Who does this? What corporation would possibly do this and send out goodie bags and try to influence influencers like this, right? I'll tell you what kind of company would. Universal. Hey, you can't get a bigger goodie bag than that.
Okay? That's a nice goodie bag.
That's a pretty big goodie bag. Now, I do want to say I do like Kit and Krista. This has nothing to do with them at all. Right. But this is the thing my point here, and then I'll go to you, Seymour. My point here is that anything Disney does, normal stuff, just a company giving media a goodie basket or swag or whatever, which every studio does this, you guys. This is 1,000% normal. As you can see here, even Universal does it. It doesn't mean that there's some sort of sinister plots, underlying agenda. They're super scared that no one's going to like the ride legitimately, so they got to bribe people into liking it. It's nonsense. You know, it's kind of getting frustrating, I gotta say, because even if you're not, look, I've never been contacted by Disney, not once. As much as we cuss on this show, and with all of George's sexual innuendo, believe me, Disney would not sponsor us. Okay, I've never had any kind of gift basket or any kind of goodies or whatever. Right. But here's the thing, though. This is very typical for these studios to do this. And just because Disney's doing it doesn't necessarily mean that this is some sort of, like I said, some sort of sinister plot. What do you think, Seymour? What are your feelings on this? That like people are accusing Clint and Thrill Geek and various people out there that are getting these Tiana gift baskets of being compromised. Like they must be in the pocket of the mouse house because they received a goodie bag.
I'm confused because I've seen creators getting gifts all the time from companies, and I never thought that. Unless they flat out like stated like, "Oh, I'm getting paid. This is a paid video from this company," right? And then it especially says that in the fine print, either in the video itself or in the title itself, right? They will say that. But usually, I just think, "Oh, they're just sending gifts to fans, like influencers who are fans, and they're just promoting." It's like advertising and marketing. The company is just giving them free promotion. And if they don't like it, they don't want to accept it. They don't actually have to accept it. But I mean, it's just fun. I don't understand why not everyone, but a few people on X are saying they're getting bribes. What? Like I saw this video before with Mario, right? With the Mario. I never thought that they were getting bribed by Nintendo or Universal. I just thought like, oh, that's nice. They're getting free stuff. And then because they're getting the free stuff, they're talking about it. And then we're now talking about it because we're watching that video. They're talking about it. It's just promotions that a company does to send out free stuff so they can talk. There's no bribe in this. And if that's a bribe, then I feel kind of bad because if they need that type of merch to survive, then there's something else going on. But I know none of these people are getting bribed. No.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. And even like, in the park realm, Universal just sent influencers the Kronos tower back in like January or February of this year to promote Epic Universe. Are they super scared Epic Universe is going to be a flop? So they have to like influence these creators and influencers to like it by sending them a gift early on. I mean, it's like, it's silly. It's absolutely silly.
And if you look at like tech YouTube channels, they get free stuff all the time from phone manufacturers. Do you think they're getting bribed? No. You think MKBHD is getting bribed by OnePlus or Apple or Samsung because they're sending them free phones to review? No. It's just their job. And if they're getting the free stuff, they're going to take it and review it.
Right, exactly. Well, and John Campia, who has also been accused of being a shill a million times, but John Campia has addressed this very issue so many times. John Campia is actually very critical of Disney. He did a middle finger rant against Disneyland like 2 years ago. I think you've seen it, Webba, right?
Yeah, I see.
Epic rant. I mean, it was hilarious. He was so mad over like the web slingers and the Rise of the Resistance, like boarding passes and stuff. But he was furious, okay? Dropping F-bombs, all kinds of stuff. But he said in a video a few years ago, he gets invited to everything, Campia, okay? Everything. And he was saying that like he gets invited to all these movie premieres and he comes back and he'll review the movie. He'll say it's good. Sometimes he says it's bad. I've watched Campia reviews before. He has criticized heavily Disney movies, especially the Star Wars stuff. And he gets invited to all the Star Wars movies. And he said, he laid it out. He said, I still get invited despite the fact that I criticize. This notion that just because you're on the media list or just because you get a gift means that you can't say anything bad about the product is nonsense. Disney will still invite you if you criticize, okay? Our friend DSNY was invited to the media event. He's been invited to media events recently, and he's critical of the Walt Disney Company. He's been on our channel and been critical. He had critiques about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So this is nonsense. What this is basically... And people know it. People know that too, But what it is, it's an attempt to basically downplay anyone's opinion who happens to be positive, right? So if you like Tiana's, well, we're going to call you a shill. We're going to call you, in the pocket of the mouse house. That way, it delegitimizes that person's opinion, and that's all that's about. Okay, it's complete and total nonsense. But Webba, what are your thoughts on this, brother?
Yeah. So could you please go back to the Tiana picture with the gift basket?
Absolutely, absolutely. I will absolutely do that. Give me one moment, sir. Here we go.
All right, so I don't know about you guys, but I actually like this gift box here. I think it's pretty cool. Even someone I don't obviously I don't wear the backpacks, I don't wear the ears, but but I would actually like this thing. It's actually really cool, and in my opinion, I think Disney should probably do this more often, honestly, because that way Disney is like they're promoting the brand, their product, and that way too you're just like that way Disney doesn't seem as kind of you know money hungry from people, right? Just kind of nickel and diming people for stuff, right? These people are getting these awesome, often these awesome gift boxes, which are really cool, and I think it promotes the attraction really well, right? Especially for again, like you have it's a princess, right? Princess Tiana. So now you have like people who have watched it when it came out, like me. Or you have like little girls who now also love Tiana as well. Now they get to see this gift box and stuff like that, which is really awesome. And
Yeah.
here's the thing, it's not just theme parks guys that do these gift boxes or whatnot for people who cover their stuff. Is the another huge market is also makeup. So for example, ColourPop, right? You have a lot of these Instagram influencers or whatever who do makeup stuff, like women who do like a lot of makeup tutorials and whatever, have a lot of followers, and they get sent like new makeup products
Yep.
all the time. ColourPop, Jeffree Star, all these other brands. And is that them shilling out for them? No, I mean, like, they could too be honest about their product, which ones they like or don't like, which fits their face and so forth. This is the same thing, guys. There's nothing about Disney trying to make up for, or oh no, we're afraid this ride sucks. Here's a little gift so you can like say our stuff is good. I think this is a great way to, again, promote their product, and I think it's cool, and I think that they should do it. Also, Universal too, or even SeaWorld, Knott's Berry Farm should also do stuff like this more often, I think.
Yeah, well, and there's this thing too that really bothers me, and it's connected to this topic where the whole topic of shilling, right? You hear this word go around a lot when it comes to Disney, especially anyone who's positive, you're just a shill, you're a pixie duster shill, right? But I see a lot of influencers who focus on Universal a lot. Okay, a lot of Universal creators who are awesome. There's a lot of awesome Universal creators out there that focus on that brand. And I don't see a whole lot of criticism of Universal from a lot of these Universal influencers. But I also don't see people saying, well, you get gifts from Universal, therefore you got bribed into liking Universal's product. It's only this like sinister evil plot when Disney's involved. There's no way in the world anyone can show for Comcast Universal. Every positive review or opinion about that company and their theme parks is 1,000% legit. But the minute Disney sends a media basket to someone, oh, bought and paid for. Look at that shill.
Well, so see, OG, and you're right. And this is what at least in my opinion, how I've viewed things for the past, I don't know, maybe since 2019, 2020, is that I feel like right now it doesn't matter what Disney does. I feel like right now there's a subset of people that actively want Disney as a whole to fail, to burn, because they're woke, they have an agenda, blah blah blah, whatever. They want them to crash and burn as a way to be like, yeah, Disney, that's what you get. And now there's all this rooting for Universal. Keep in mind, I'm not saying Universal is a bad product, park, brand. No, I love Universal as well. But I do believe there is this a group of people out there who actively want Disney to like fall, and that's very unfortunate. It's a bad mindset to have.
Well, here's the thing, and you bring up a great point, Webba, where it's like when your entire narrative and brand or whatever, no matter it centers around go woke, go broke, and when Disney does well, that nicks away at that whole kind of narrative, and so you can't let that stand, because there goes your gravy train, right? Like you need to maintain that. So even when they have a win, you got to paint it as a loss, because you got to, hey, they're woke. They're supposed to go broke. We can't, I mean, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk movies. Inside Out is going to do some banger numbers coming up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not going broke by any stretch of the imagination. But the issue is that when you paint it like when you've been out there on social media, this, that, and the other, whether you're a creator or just a fan and you're saying it, it's not just creators. A lot of fans are even saying this stuff. you look foolish when they don't go broke and they don't collapse, because you've been saying for so long that they're gonna go down because of what they've been doing. So it's interesting. But you're right, there is a subset, and I don't think it's a majority by any means. I think it's a very small vocal minority that's rooting for Disney to fail, but they absolutely are. It's very transparent. You can see it. And again, it's not about criticizing. We criticize here.
Right.
We have friends who criticize, other content creators who criticize Disney very heavily. We joke all the time about Daddy Josh. We're not fans of him at all. I mean, really, we've talked so many times about it. It's not about criticizing. There's a difference between, hey, I want this company to do better, and here's how, and just, big mouth bad and almost gleefully happy when they trip. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's why, right? That's the thing, is like, you criticize because you love the brand and you want it to do better, because you know Disney can do better, because Disney has always been like the high quality product, right? And also there's also a lot of times where there's answers to stuff that Disney can't do that's so obvious, and then Disney doesn't do it, right? And you're like, oh my God, why didn't you guys do that for? You guys did this instead of doing this. So it's very frustrating. But that's the difference between just wanting them to just always fail, bad Disney, bad mouse, compared to okay, this was great, but then you guys did this that made you guys suffer, right? Yeah. And so as loving the ones who love the brand want them to do really well.
Yeah, no, well said. What do you think, Seymour? What are your thoughts on that, brother?
Oh, I just wanted to point out one thing with the bribing, quote unquote, is that if they were, let's say, posting on X and saying they got this free stuff and they were getting paid by Disney without stating that they were paid by Disney, I would understand the backlash. But that's not what's happening here. They're not getting paid by Disney. They're just getting free stuff. That's usually the case with this promotion and advertising. They usually have like a budget for this, and they do that for movies, attractions, TV shows. Exactly like the Super Mario Brothers. When it comes out, that's all it is. It's part of their marketing budget, and they're just promoting what's to their fans essentially.
So while I do agree with you 100%, I think where this whole thing's coming from, because now I'm thinking, right, is I think where this whole thing's coming from is when you had Tron and Guardians of Cosmic Rewind open, stuff like that, right? Is I don't know if Disney did something like this for those rides. Did they, when those opened up, like gift boxes for those attractions?
I don't remember. I don't really know, to be honest. I'd have to look into that. I'm not really sure.
So I don't think they did. I could be wrong, but I think people are trying to use this as like a thing, like, oh look, see, Tiana's, they have no faith in Tiana's here. Let's give them the gift box as like a bribery, right? But I think it's just, again, it's a way to promote the product, the brand. I think Tiana's is gonna be great, like especially here at Disneyland. I think it's gonna fit a lot better. But I think maybe, like I said, they should start doing this more often, and maybe with more new attractions, maybe they can start doing that for like each new attraction they open up, right? I think that'd be really cool.
Well, and you can't win, because if you give the gift baskets, they're bribing people, right?
Right.
If you don't give the gift baskets, then the narrative would be, see, they have no faith in this attraction. They're quietly opening it, right?
Or they have no monies and they're struggling.
Yes. Oh, they're so broke. They can't get the landslide backpacks away to these people. Look how broke they are. Exactly. Right. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with how worried they are about the attraction or how it's going to be perceived. I think it's par for the course. Look, we're seeing it right here with the Super Mario movie. Do I think Universal was worried that creators weren't going to like the Mario movie? No, I think Universal was very confident in the Mario movie. That movie was fantastic. This was promotional. This video is exactly why Universal sends it. So they have content creators and influencers going out there on YouTube and TikTok and what have you, opening this really dope box that plays music when you open it, okay, and promoting their product.
Well, exactly. That's what they want.
Right, and that's what happened with Tiana's. You have creators like Thrill Geek promoting the attraction when they get the merch. Same happened in January when they got the Kronos Tower. It's promotion for Epic Universe. It has nothing to do with, oh my God, Panic at the Mouse House. Nothing to do with that. It's ridiculous that that's the narrative out there right now. But look, I mean, it is what it is. Go ahead.
Sorry, Seymour.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Disney has done this before for many influencers. Last year they did. I was just quickly Googling. Last year they did one for Disney Plus, and they were promoting Disney Plus and all the TV shows, and they were giving items related to that. It's nothing new.
Yeah, no, and every single studio on the planet does it, but it's only suspect when Disney does it for some reason. I don't know. And like I said before, shilling can go all ways. You can shill for any corporation, so it's not like shilling isn't like a Disney exclusive. You know, you can shill for Universal just the same. Now, here's the thing too. I heard, okay, and I'm not going to say this person's name because I don't know if this person wants me to say their name. Somebody who is not a pixie duster, I will say that much, told me that Universal reaches out to just about everybody. I'm talking, you can have very low subscriber counts, and Universal reaches out for you to be on their like media team.
Really?
And yes, very much. They're very aggressive with it. They're very aggressive with it. Okay. Smaller creators, large creators. Disney is, I think, a little more particular with it. You know what I'm saying? But Universal is not, okay? And they are very aggressive with that. So there are more people, I think, on that Universal list than the Disney list, I would surmise. Okay, that's just my opinion from what I've heard from this person who is not a pixie duster. I promise you that. So it's just kind of interesting. I don't know. This whole thing is kind of frustrating too, because what happens here is good people like Clint from Thrill Geek get painted as this nefarious kind of person or outlet because he just got a gift from Disney, and now everything he does now is seen through this through that lens of, oh, he got bribed. It's unfair and it's frustrating, and it does make me mad because it's untrue. I've had those kind of assumptions or accusations against me all the time too. I've never been contacted by Disney. I'm not paid by Disney. I get no special anything from Disney. We cuss way too much on this show. George with all his sex jokes, there's no way they would ever sponsor us. You know, we just have our opinions. And Clint is a good guy. He's the same way, dude. But now he's getting a barrage of bribery this and bribery that because he had the absolute nerve to get a gift basket from Disney and like the attraction. My God, you know.
Well, see, and also on the other side, OG, think about how the company probably feels, right? It's like anything they do is wrong. You know, oh, we want to be nice and give these gift boxes or baskets to, you know, these influencers or whoever, right? These people who have social media and stuff. Oh, bad Disney. It's like it doesn't matter what they do to try to, you know, be more what's the word? More open to kind of stuff like in this manner, right? They get backlash from it no matter what. And like, let's say you're one of the people in charge of this aspect of it, you know, that must be frustrating, right? You know, you're trying, as a company, you're trying to do what you can to kind of please some of your audience, and then you're still getting shit for it. Like, you know, like to me, that's like not cool at all.
You're going to fall on one side of the trap or the other is how I say it. You know, if you send the goodie basket, you're trying to buy people's opinions. If you don't send the goodie basket, you're an asshole. So you're not going to win. If someone has the mindset of Disney's the bad guy and that's the end result for everything, it doesn't matter what they do. It's going to be the same end result, no matter whether they send the gift basket, whether they don't send the gift basket, whether they hand deliver the gift back. It doesn't matter what they do. If the end result is always Disney bad.
It's funny you say that because I get a lot of backlash on X, and I'm a duck with a Mario hat. and I specifically say like I am bullish or like a long-term investor in Nintendo. I even put up my portfolios that I'm 80% of my portfolio is in Nintendo, and they still call me a pixie duster. And I even tell them that I sold my Disney shares for Nintendo, and they still say I'm a pixie duster. And just because I'm stating facts with numbers, that's it. Even though it has nothing to do with any bias of me liking Disney or not. I'm just stating numbers of the company, and they come back at me like, oh, you're a pixie duster. You're getting paid by Bob Iger, special access. I'm like, what? No. I'm actually getting paid by Nintendo by dividends, if you want to know, but that's it. I'm not getting paid, which I will use on the new Switch. But anyways, yes, this is the only time I'm getting paid.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well said, Seymour. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It is, and what it does is it's this very like reductive kind of conversation. Like the minute someone comes into to a Twitter thread or something, or even in your YouTube comments with this whole thing about you're just a shill, you're a pixie duster, it's like you suck all the intelligence out of the conversation. You know, I would like to have an honest debate or discussion. I know the gentleman here would too, with people that have a difference in opinion. But when it's always like you're just a shill, you're being bribed, you're this and the other, it's like I'm not going to argue with it. This is stupid. This is clown world. Okay, this is dumb. You know, and so it does a disservice to the conversation. It does a disservice to the community. You know, if you want to have debates, that's awesome. I'm down for it. You know, let's have an honest debate. But there's no need for all the accusations. You know, really. So Disney's going broke, but they're paying off just about everybody on the planet apparently. Right? That makes total sense.
Like this is a flowing out cash, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, dude? Just, you know, make that money, that money.
And you know what? Here's another thing, right? Is if you hate Disney so much, why do you care to follow Disney? To check what Disney is doing, to see what other people are thinking about Disney. Like why do you care? Like, just fuck off and go do something else.
Well, that's how I am. That's how I am. Where like if I don't like something, I pull back on my money, or I pull back on my attention. Right. So if I'm not really into it as much, like I'll be honest with you, I'm not as into Star Wars as I used to be. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not as into it as I used to be. So guess what? I'm not as invested as I used to be. I don't talk about it as much. I don't put myself in it as much. So it's like, I understand what you're saying, Webba, where it's like, if you're that mad at Disney or the theme parks or this, that, and the other, then don't go. If they've come to a point now where it's that miserable for you, go somewhere else. And I'm not being snarky or anything like that. I'm honest. If it's that bad for you, go to Universal. Give Universal your money if they provide a better product. You know, life is too short to go to places that make you miserable. I don't understand that. I agree with you. I don't understand that mentality. Go ahead, Seymour.
No, I was just like, I've seen a lot of quote unquote Star Wars fans or Marvel fans who are upset with the content being created, but yet every month they watch the episodes still. Every new episode of Star Wars that comes out of a new season, they watch. Or Marvel, right? They say, oh, I hate Miss Marvel, I hate She-Hulk. Okay, then why do you keep watching it if you hate it? I don't understand that. Why do you give Disney your money? You know, I say a lot on X that people vote with their wallets, but apparently you're not. You're giving them the money and you're still complaining.
Yeah, well, I'm the pixie duster, but I still haven't seen a single episode of The Acolyte. But everyone who hates the show has seen these episodes multiple times, apparently. And then the other thing, too, is kind of funny is when it comes to Star Wars in general, it's dead. I keep hearing Star Wars is dead, Star Wars is dead. But it's like all I see on Twitter are people arguing about Star Wars. People don't argue constantly on social media about things that are dead. I can go on YouTube right now and find a million videos on The Acolyte, good or bad. I can go on Twitter, a million debates and Twitter threads about The Acolyte. That's not a dead franchise. You want to see what a dead franchise is? How many arguments on Twitter are going on right now about Popeye? You go on YouTube. How many Popeye videos are there? How many people are arguing over Popeye? Nobody, okay? Because no one cares. That's a dead franchise. You know, and I didn't use Felix this time, Seymour, because I know you like Felix. I'm going to respect it.
Shout out to Felix the cat.
Yeah, I'm going to respect our boy Felix. But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous that it's a dead franchise, but somehow it's in the conversation like constantly, like the focus. It's like trending on Twitter and like every YouTube. There's like every YouTuber has a Star Wars video. It's like, okay, I thought it was dead. What's going on here?
Yeah, how many times you're going to cancel Disney Plus?
I know, how many times? Cancel, resubscribe just to cancel again. You know, it's like, geez, it's unbelievable, unbelievable. But let's dip into our next topic, which is.
Sorry, real quick. I just want to ask you and Seymour, what do you guys? What do you guys think about that gift basket though? Like the contents that are inside.
I think it was nice. I mean, the lounge fly and stuff. I mean, they were given some pretty decent stuff. I thought it was a pretty solid basket. You know, I think it was nice. You know, what do you think, Seymour?
It's not for me. So please don't. So Disney, do not send it. I'm just gonna give it to someone. It's not for me. But it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just it's not for me. That's
not for the duck.
Hey, Seymour.
If Nintendo wants to send me stuff, I'm all for it. But, if you want to call me a Nintendo shill, that makes sense. Not a Disney shill. I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah. Well, Seymour, you know what that means. You don't like the Tiana basket, so it looks like you're gonna Bob Iger isn't gonna invite you to Jeffrey's in Malibu anymore, bro, for that brunch. You know,
Right.
it's tough, man. I was enjoying your company at Jeffrey's in Malibu. You know, having a few Pellegrinos, just kicking back. But yeah, Iger's gonna.
He's like, hey, no more ducks on this yacht, all right?
He didn't want the Tiana basket. We're done.
On that case, Universal, call me.
Oh man.
Nice. All right, here we go. We're gonna pivot now to Inside Out 2. This is from Jatinder, in little parentheses, Charlie. So it's me, Jat32 on X. Make sure you go ahead and follow. I don't know who this person is, but they do a box office analysis, and I'm using their tweet. So out of respect, go ahead and check them out. It says here, from the early looks of it, seems like $47 million Friday for Inside Out 2, giving it a $60+ million opening day. Are you kidding me? Absolute madness. Expecting $150 million plus weekend. This is absolutely insane, you guys. I thought this movie looked really cute. I love Anxiety. Our friend Kaylee loves Envy right there, the little blue Envy. These characters look adorable. Great designs. You know what I'm saying? I thought it looked really fun. I was not expecting this kind of weekend, though. This is absolutely insane. What are your thoughts on this, Seymour?
Me and Slimer were talking about this, and it's like lately the movies that have been doing very great, like really good in the box office, were IPs that were familiarized with the audience already. So like Inside Out 2, right? We already know the first one. The audience already knows this one. Mario, right? People are, they know that IP. Barbie, people know the toys. Wonka, right? The reason the last movie I saw was Ghostbusters, because I know that IP. And it feels like in Bad Boys, the new movie came out from Sony, did really good as well. And I feel like partially that's the reason why these movies are doing better, because the audience trusts these IPs. They know that they're going to be great. Avatar 2, right? That's another example. That made like over $2 billion. And yeah, so that's, to me, I think this is partially why this is doing better than what we were expecting. It's because people trust this brand, this IP, going into it already. So they don't need that word of mouth coming in, because they already know it's going to happen. It's going to be good.
Yeah, no, well said. And in this day and age with streaming and so many different ways that you can consume content, it's the theater chains, and we could talk about this, Seymour, because I know you've been following it, how the theater chains are doing right now. And we're going to talk about Alamo Drafthouse a little bit later, but like the theater chains are kind of competing for eyeballs, just like we are here on YouTube and what have you. There's so many places now people can get their content. And I think you're onto something, Seymour, when you say, well, people are more willing to shell out money to go to a theater on something that they know. It's a well-known property. We like the last one. We'll check this one out. It's safe. A thing like Wish, it's all new. We don't know. As a family, are they going to spend $100 to go to the theater to see an unknown thing? Probably not. But Super Mario, they will, because Mario is a 40+ year franchise. We know Mario, so we'll go see that. So I think you're onto something with that. I think it's not so much about, because a lot of people will say, well, it's a thing about Disney being like woke and having like messaging in there, and that's why they're waiting for Disney Plus. That's not what's going on here. It's totally about what Seymour was saying, the familiarity of certain IPs. People feel safe to spend their money at the theater. The theaters are very expensive right now, and people are getting more picky with how they spend their money with that stuff. And they're not going to roll the dice on a new IP. They're just not, unfortunately. Inside Out, Mario kind of shows that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Seymour.
And I was going to say, especially for families where they have to get, let's say, 4 people, and then they have to buy food, because if you don't give them popcorn and candy, they're going to get upset. So you're going to have to buy everyone. They don't want to go out and spend money on a movie where they don't believe in already. They don't want to spend that money. They'd rather wait for streaming to come on, and then they will watch it there, where they can just eat pizza at home. An example, which I'm sure we're going to talk about soon with the Nielsen numbers, is like Madam Web. That movie was, people were saying that movie was horrible. Nobody went to see it. It flopped. Yet it's number 3 in the Nielsen numbers on Netflix. The top 10? What? So it makes me think like now everyone is watching it. Now it's a huge success. But that was on streaming. They didn't give it a chance in theaters because it was it was a change. People don't like change, right? So a lot with Star Wars, and when they're adding new superheroes, they don't like change, so they don't go see it. Or like Wish, a new IP, they don't like it, or they don't know about it. They don't trust it as much, so they wait until streaming. But then when they come to streaming, Wish was a huge success, #1 in Nielsen movies, right? Elemental, #1. And Madam Web, #3 in the top 10 for Netflix. So it's like these things are pretty like these movies are not doing bad. They're doing great. It's just that people are not willing to spend money for it in the movie theaters.
Right. Exactly. These studios and stuff have to kind of adjust the way that they do these things, and adjust their models. And they are. It's a very transitionary period. What do you think, Webba?
So you guys both made like excellent points, like combined. But the funny thing though, right, is that people you hear all the time screaming, dude, screaming, do something original. Why do you keep doing sequels? All this other stuff, and it's like, well, you guys are going out flocking to all these sequels, myself included. Like I'm not saying don't do any more sequels, because as long as it's good, I don't care how many you do. You can do 10, 100, whatever. As long as it's good and it has good quality, I'm all for it. But Seymour, because you guys were saying that when it comes to Disney Plus, then it skyrockets, right? So here's the thing: are we moving into a period where maybe in the future we can't judge how well a movie is based off the movie theater numbers now, because it's all kind of going to the streaming area, and then that's where it picks up? I'm curious
one
how
of
we do that.
no, absolutely, Webba. That's exactly what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to reevaluate sort of how we determine success in a lot of ways, right? Because Encanto is a perfect example of that. Encanto was like fresh off the pandy, so it didn't really do that great in theaters, but it did banger numbers on Disney Plus. And now Encanto is actually one of Disney's biggest franchises, but it didn't do big box office numbers though, right? So it's a different world we live in. Definitely. Success is not measured purely off a box office anymore, right?
Especially with Disney being with the flywheel company they are, right? It's not just the movie theaters that they make money, the revenue. You have the merchandise, and then it goes to digital, and then it goes to streaming, and then you got the theme parks, and then you got the cruises, and then you got the cross promotions, and then you got the licensing, and you got everything in there in the middle. And you realize like, oh, okay, so it doesn't need to be just successful in the movie theaters.
Yeah, exactly. And although I will say though, I think this certain instance where like these kind of sequel movies, to you guys' point, are getting higher numbers, like the theaters, I think it's because that a lot of original stuff that's been coming out, whether it's from Disney, Universal, hasn't really been like amazing. It's probably been like good to okay,
No, that's fair.
Like kind of just flopping along. So that's sort of Seymour's points, like that these people they're not sure about how the original movie is going to be, because now, and to OG your point, going because they connect that movie theaters are expensive, right? You have a family of 4. Even with me and my wife, right? If we go to the movies to Regal, it's at least $18 for a ticket per ticket, and then it's like we spend at least $40, $45 on at the concession stand. So if you have a family of 4 or 5, right, that's a lot of money you're spending on a movie that may be like to like. So a lot of people are waiting for streaming now because they don't want to take that gamble and to spend all this money, go out, try to find parking and all this other stuff when they can just sit at home, like what you like to do, OG, sit at home, use the bathroom when you want, get your drinks, have your snacks, right, and watch it right there on your TV.
Yeah, no, exactly. Now another movie that's tracking right now too, which is another Disney movie, which is Deadpool and Wolverine. That movie is supposedly tracking for like 200 million on the first weekend domestic. These are crazy numbers, you guys. I mean, I think that's getting close to like Infinity War, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that's massive. What are your thoughts on that, Seymour? We have Inside Out maybe hitting 150. We got Deadpool maybe hitting 200. This is kind of big. What do you think?
Yeah, it's big. I mean, yeah, like you said, Infinity War. I think it was like 250 domestic for the weekend. And the article I read said that it was 200 million, and that was the 200 million to like 240 million, and that's on the conservative side. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, sometimes I know I don't trust these numbers but they give you a bit of an idea of what's to come. They tracked like Super Mario Brothers really low, and then it's like, oh look, $1.35 billion. I'm like, oh okay. But yeah. I mean that means that people are interested in the IPs that are well known. People know Deadpool, and they want to see Deadpool, and they know Wolverine, they know X-Men, and it almost gives that nostalgia take. Who's also in the Inside Out too, but yeah, nostalgia. So that you get that feeling of like, okay, I've seen this before, so you're like, okay, I'm willing to watch it. I think that's why the latest Spider-Man movie did well too. It's because it was rumored that the other two Spider-Man, rumor alert, if you haven't seen the movie.
Right.
I mean, spoiler alert, sorry. Yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, yeah, you get that nostalgia feeling of like, okay, I trust this. The other two Spider-Mans were good, and now you got the third one, and now you have all three. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to get Deadpool and Wolverine, and then you're seeing every other element of the superheroes from the past. Yes, I'm down to watch that.
Right. See, because that. Sorry, OG.
Okay.
See, because that comes on the top of like following a movie that already has success. Right. You had it. You made an original movie. Now it's super successful. Like for example, Moana. Right. Moana did very well, and now they're having a sequel come out. And I'm sure a lot of people are excited for it. But if like let's say Disney announces, I don't know, Lightyear 2, right? How many people are really going to be excited to go out and watch that movie?
And
I guarantee you that would do better on Disney Plus after it hit movie theaters.
And that's also another point where it's like people don't like change, and when they saw Lightyear, it felt like, why are you changing this whole story and being complex from Toy Story? I'm very confused. I don't trust this.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Now I want to ask you, Seymour, is there any chance we're seeing banger numbers from Inside Out, at least projected? I mean, and what the numbers that's trickling in, it looks like it's gonna be a banger weekend. We don't know if it's gonna have legs or not. I'm assuming it will because there's not much competition until Despicable Me. But is it possible, Seymour, that we see Super Mario Brothers level box office returns here? Could this thing maybe hit $1 billion?
Definitely, because I've seen some reviews, even though I'm not going to see a movie based on someone else's review. I'm going to see the movie for myself and for what I like. But I've seen some reviews, and I've not seen one that said it was bad. All of them that I read said it was amazing. And then I saw some other posts saying that they're tracking to do amazing. And I'm like, 1 + 1 = 2. So yes, I think it's gonna do really well. It could be the point where it's like people are waiting for a really good Disney movie, so they're gonna come out and see this movie because they know they trust that IP.
Yeah, well said. What do you think, Mr. Webba? Billy, can it hit a Billy?
I don't know. I want to say 800 million, probably.
Okay, that's decent.
And now, to be fair, this is all. And I'm gonna shock you guys. I'm gonna shock the world. Everybody's gonna come hating me. Okay. So just put that out there, right? Okay, bad Mr. Webba. Okay, I've never seen the first one.
Are you Big Webba bad?
Big Webba bad. Big bad
There
Webba.
you go. Big bad Webba. You've never seen the first Inside Out.
No, and I'll tell you why. And
Okay.
I was actually just talking to Wizard earlier today, and I was telling him this. The reason why I've never seen it, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, right? Because I've never seen it. I know my wife really loves the movie and the characters. I've never watched it because I'm very weird. If I don't like the look of characters, I'm not interested in that movie, game, anime, or whatever.
So which character don't you like the look of?
All of them.
Really?
I don't like. I don't care for how they look like. They look like they would just be. I don't know. I don't like them. So I never watched the movie. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. Okay, I've never seen it, but I know a lot of people love it. But I'm just expecting probably like around 800 million because I know a lot of fans love the first movie, and and like the sequel always does really well as well. $1 billion, I don't think so, but I would say around 800 million. So
yeah, and if it does that, I mean that's solid. That's solid. I think what was the budget on this one, Seymour? It was like 200 million, right? Something like that.
Most likely.
So 200 million.
Usually 200 to 250. It doesn't go beyond that.
Okay. So it's going to make its money back for sure. It's a matter of now how much is it going to make beyond that, and it's all about the legs, we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting. Exactly. The legs. All right, let's dip into some Nielsen number.
It was 200 million.
200 million. Okay. So how much would it have to make then out the door, like to break a profit, to break even?
That's like that's a rabbit hole going deep down because we don't know what the promotion and marketing costs. Some people do 2.25 times to get the math, but I mean, like
So
some people were saying that the promotion's already in the budget, already accounted for. So there's a lot of complications in that.
well,
Yeah.
so maybe you could be looking at 600 million probably to break even, and then the rest would be profit after that.
Yeah.
Possibly, I don't know. I'm not a math person at all, guys.
Yeah,
You know,
just a rough estimate.
Everybody's like,
I'm
I'm just gonna throw some fucking numbers and then we'll see what happens, right?
Oh, yeah, right. We'll see what happens, guys.
That's awesome. Now this is Nielsen.com top 10. So this is interesting stuff. This is from the week of May 13th to the May 19th. We got Bridgerton, which is actually a really good show. I actually really like it. I've only seen the first 2 seasons. I haven't seen this new season. Grey's Anatomy is number 2. Madam Web is number 3, and it's beating out Bluey.
Wow.
What is going on, Seymour? How in the world is Madam Web beating out Bluey?
I haven't seen the movie, so I can't tell you if it was actually good. But since it's on Netflix, I might see it tonight. But it's the power of Netflix. People are willing to watch it without paying any extra money for it. Like we talked about before. You have families or even just a couple or yourself. It's expensive to go to a movie theater right now, and when you want to go to a movie theater, you want to buy food, and then it's not worth it. And it's like, well, I just stay at home. I have Netflix. And there you go. You have Madam Web on Netflix, and it's doing amazing. I give props to Netflix and Sony for this because that's being for a movie. You got to remember, a movie it's like an hour to 2 hours, a typical movie. Compared to you're competing with Family Guy with 430 episodes at 25 minutes, right? That's tremendous. Bluey too. You got all the kids putting on repeat. I mean, like that's real good and just under Grey's Anatomy, but I mean, like that's Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that maybe another reason for this is because, well, the first reason is like what Seymour just said, right? Like all those reasons, absolutely. But do you think there's another like kind of group of kind of normies in a way where a lot of people have Netflix and look there's a new superhero movie that's like tied to Spider-Man, right? Is this an MCU theme? Maybe they don't know the difference because OJ, I know you talked about that where like the soccer mom may not know of like the difference between the Marvel MCU for Disney and then Sony's
Well,
Marvel
and that's why I push back on people that were saying that a lot of Disney and Pixar movies were underperforming because of brand damage. I was pushing back on that because Spider-Man is a Disney brand and the normies are not all tapped into this Sony deal like we are. Okay. Yeah. So when the soccer mom is taking her kids to go see Into the Spider-Verse, she's not going in there with her kids thinking, okay, well, technically this is a Sony movie. So I'm okay with taking my kids. No. It's Spider-Man, it's Disney. That's all the normies are thinking. So they were going to see Spider-Verse in droves. Majority of the normies were assuming it was a Disney thing. Okay. That's why I never believed this stuff where like if a certain Disney movie underperformed, it was brand damage. I don't think it was, if the brand was so damaged, they wouldn't have lined up to go see Spider-Verse. Yeah. I don't know. What say you, Seymour?
Yeah, no. I'm always hearing brand damage, but it's not brand damage. It's that sometimes the movies just it's not that good quality, or they're not willing to go out and see the movie. They're not willing to pay. A lot of the younger generation are just not willing to watch a movie in the movie theater. A lot of them they're born into streaming.
Right. No, exactly. That's exactly it.
And you can see with these numbers, right? Like nobody saw Madam Web. It was a flop. And everyone was a lot of people on X were talking about, oh, it's woke, female lead. Why do we need a female Spider Woman? Like what? I'm like, huh? I haven't even seen the movie yet, but that's what they were saying. And I didn't go out and see it either. So a lot of these movies I haven't gone and seen out. Only the ones that are like with the IPs, like Ghostbusters, Mario, Barbie, Wonka. Yep. Those are the ones that I know. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch. Mm-hmm. And then Madam Web, no, I didn't see that.
And see, Seymour, you're tapped into what the normies are thinking then, because what did you see? Barbie, Ghostbusters, like all the movies that actually did well. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm not willing to spend money on movies that I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll wait till streaming. I'll order a pizza and watch it, and I'm good to go.
And
So,
that's
like,
exactly.
yeah.
Sorry, Seymour.
No, I was gonna say, and that's why I'm gonna watch Madam Web tonight.
There you go. Yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Go ahead, Webba.
Sorry, guys.
You're good.
And that's exactly what a lot of people are doing. They're waiting for it until it comes on streaming. Because movie theaters are expensive. You got to get ready, go, drive out, go out into society and, go deal with a lot of people. Right. And then, on top of that, you have like depending on the theater, right? Okay. So we might get into this to the next thing. But the one thing that drives me crazy about the movie theaters, because I actually like going to the movies. I like the movie theater experience. But if there's one movie theater experience I do not like and I despise, is when I go to watch a movie and I have to sit through half an hour of advertisements and previews
Well,
before the movie starts.
oh yeah, well, and it's okay. I can kind of understand the trailers for the movies, upcoming movies. I get that because they want, like, for example, like a chain like AMC, they want you to come back to their theater and check out that movie when it comes out, right? I understand that. That's completely understandable. What I don't understand, Webba, is when I'm sitting in an AMC theater and they're advertising AMC to me. This is a waste of my fucking time. I'm already here. You already sold me. Why are you trying to sell me again? And you're now it's a half an hour in before my movie even starts.
Well, exactly. Okay, so here's the thing, right? It's like the trailers, I get that to your point, OG, but they should do at least maybe just two maximum because
Right.
every company puts their trailers on freaking YouTube now. Everybody can watch the trailers before before they go to the theaters. And on top of that, because I don't have AMC around me, I have Regal. So what you said, OG, I have to watch a Pepsi advertisement for Regal. I have to watch a Regal Unlimited advertisement, and then I have to watch like some other, Fandango or like Target advertisements that they have. And then on top of like 6 trailers, and then it's like half an hour. I'm like, dude, this movie was supposed to start at 7:30, and now it's like 8:05. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
Well, then you got to watch the Tiana Bayou Adventure ad, which has a subliminal messaging to brainwash the audience to go get them to like the ride. I mean, it's crazy, man. What do you think, Seymour? What are your thoughts?
I was just gonna ask you if you can go to the movie section for that Nielsen chart.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Since we're talking about movies and IPs.
Yep, absolutely. Let me go ahead and switch that over. The movie section?
Yeah, if you go scroll up, movies.
There we go.
All right. And if you look at here, look at the movies that are doing well.
Yeah.
You got Moana, Super Mario Brothers, all right, Shrek, known IPs.
Exactly.
People trust these IPs and they probably have it on repeat. And I believe Super Mario Brothers is like a Disney powerhouse, like a Disney style powerhouse for Netflix, where kids are just putting on repeat, keep watching it over and over again, listening to the soundtrack and saying their catchphrases.
Yeah. And I got to give it to Shrek. Honestly, I thought Shrek as a franchise was kind of dead and buried. It seems to be making a resurgence. I think they're actually making a sequel, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that maybe that Puss in Boots, recent Puss in Boots movie, I think that might have kind of generated more interest in the overall franchise. I don't know. But I've seen more buzz about Shrek lately than I have in years. I don't know why. Go ahead, Webba.
Oh, dude, that Puss in Boots movie, man, that was a great movie to do. And it was cool. Like, speaking of animation, because I know we talk about them sometimes, they utilize a mixed style of they like 3D animation, and then when they were fighting, they had like this cool 2D kind of stylistic animation going on. It was dope, dude. It was a great story, great characters. It was a great addition to like not only like a movie of like animation, but also a great movie in like the Shrek franchise. It was a great movie.
Well, the thing, I haven't seen it, and I'm going to check it out. Actually, DreamWorks has another movie coming out about this robot. I forgot the name of it, but that one looks really good too, actually. But Puss in Boots, I really like the animation style. It has like almost like a painted look, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I like that.
Exactly. And also too, it has a cool villain as well. And I love me some cool villains, so.
You and the Italiano, you guys love those cool villains,
Oh yeah. Oh, we have to do it. And that's the thing is that with Tiana's, sorry, going back to Tiana real quick, that is the one thing that I will say that I will miss, or like having at least for like a fairy tale type of attraction, is not having a villain in it. But what can you do? He's not there. So I'll, when I go on it, when it's open here, I'll have to judge it based off its own merit.
Yeah, and check it out and see. It's interesting. We had a guest on the channel this morning, Caitlin, a friend of our good friend Slimer, and she was awesome. First time on the channel, she absolutely crushed it. But she was seeing a lot of negative stuff about Tiana's Bayou adventure online, as we all have. We've all been on X, right? I mean, it's like all over the place and stuff. But she says she's talked to a lot of cast members who have gone on it because they've had their previews, and she said overwhelmingly all the cast members she's talked to have really loved it. I'm like, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the people that are actually going on it, Alicia Stella, she's a theme park, what would you call, like, I guess you would say theme park journalist or content creator, influencer. Yeah. She scoops a lot of Universal stuff, but she today made a tweet saying like, look, this ride's awesome. I loved it. And she's getting all the same shit that Clint was getting from Thrill Geek. Oh, you're a shill. How much did they pay you to say that, Alicia? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I think it'll be an okay attraction. Yeah, I'm sure I'll have criticisms. I'm right. I don't think it's gonna be perfect, but it's not. I personally, from what I've seen, from what I'm hearing from people who actually wrote it, it doesn't seem to be this massive disaster. I just don't see that,
Right, and I guarantee you, like, even when it's fully open, a lot of people that are still complaining about it and want it to like burn in the hells of fire are going to be people who have never even gone on it still, or even been to the parks in like 10 years. Yeah. So it's like, no, actually get your ass on the damn ride and ride it, and then make your opinion on it.
Yeah, if you go on it and you don't like it, like you legitimately don't like it, and it wasn't for you, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. One thing though I will say before I move on to our next topic, one thing I will say. I stood up for Disney with the breakdowns. Initially, I was like, okay, it's a new ride. Yeah. It doesn't open for another month. Come on, it's going to break down. It's getting a little excessive now, though. I will say it is giving the amount of breakdowns and for how long they're down for. It's down for like 2 and 3 hours after it breaks down. They need to get that sorted. Absolutely. We have just a couple more weeks till it opens to the public. It's time to kind of get on the ball here with that. My opinion of that has changed since that last video. Yeah. But but other than that, I think that ride gets way too much. The hate for that ride is so overblown, in my opinion. I don't know, but we'll see. Next topic, we got Sony Pictures acquires Alamo Drafthouse. Okay. The deal is notable partly because Hollywood studios were long barred from owning theaters, but that changed 4 years ago, allowing studios to jump into the expedition game. This is interesting. It says here, Sony Pictures, the Hollywood studio behind recent hits like Bad Boys, Ride or Die, and Anyone But You, has acquired the Alamo Drafthouse cinema dine-in movie theater chain, the two companies announced Wednesday. Alamo will be housed under a new corporate division called Sony Pictures Experiences. This is interesting. And the chain will continue to operate all 35 of its locations across 25 metro areas in the U.S., the company said in a joint statement. Here's the interesting thing here. Now, it's kind of weird. They're right. It was against the law for these studios to own theater chains. I don't know how Disney got around that when they bought the El Capitan, like in like the 90s, I think, or whatever, in the 80s. I don't know when they bought it. I think it was like the late 80s, early 90s. The El Capitan Theater in Hollywood. Disney has owned that theater for decades. I don't know how Disney skirted that, but they did somehow. But now these studios can acquire movie theater chains. And it's interesting because I think this is just the very beginning. Because these, right? And Seymour, you've touched upon it a lot on X. I think you're absolutely, I think you're right. These theater chains are in for a world of hurt. When you have Bob Iger, and you said it, Seymour, when you have Bob Iger coming out and saying, we're focusing on quality over quantity, well, that's great for Disney and their bottom line. It's not great for companies like AMC that needs constant content in their theaters, you know? So I think you're going to see much more of this, where you see these studios start snatching up these movie houses. They might even buy some maybe smaller chains, like little boutique kind of chains, and do like a similar situation like what Disney has done with the El Capitan, and maybe play just their movies in there, like a specialty kind of experience. But Seymour, what are your thoughts on this?
This is a powerhouse move from Sony. I think this is going to change the movie industry. Oh, yeah. Because unfortunately, the movie theaters can't survive on their own. Something needs to be done. And this is one of the things that are being done. And I think it's me and Slimer were talking about it endlessly in the DMs. But one of the things is that Sony now can reduce ticket prices because they're going to get 100% of the revenues in their movies. And by reducing the ticket prices, more people are going to come and see the movies. And then you can also give incentives to the other studios. You can give them a bigger cut to the revenue because you're getting 100% of the revenue for your movies, so they can come in, and it's almost like a Netflix version, but in a movie theater. And it's like everyone wins. You know, the studios are going to get a bigger cut. People are going to come in and buy cheaper tickets simply because Sony can get 100% of their revenue from their movies. Right. And it doesn't need to. And now you don't hear. You know, let's say you watch a movie. And, you know, a lot of reports like, oh, I need to do, like, let's say it's a $200 million movie, right? Like, oh, you need to double that because you have to give half to the movie theater. You don't need to do half to the movie theater. You give it to yourself.
So could this potentially, Seymour, sorry, OG, could this potentially cut down on how much really a company needs to make back on their movie then if they're making money from theaters?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, because now they're like what you were saying, where the cut. Because a big issue with this whole dynamic with the studios and the theater chains is the chain gets a percentage. Well, if all these studios snatch up all the chains, they're not having to split anything anymore.
That's true.
That's their theater chain. So all the Alamo draft houses, that's money in the pocket for Sony. Right, that's money in the pocket for Sony. So
if they wanted to, so if they wanted to do a Madam Web 2 and it does the same thing, it wouldn't be a flop now because they would get 100% of the revenue.
See, and back to what we're talking about with the streaming. This also, again, OG changes the dynamic of what has the criteria of not being a flop or success now, because now we have movies like this.
Exactly.
Something special about this movie theater, though, is that they do a lot of it's not a boutique style, but it is a little niche where you get good food and good drinks in the movie theater compared to AMC, where in Cineplex they call it VIP access, but you have to be 18 and plus to get in, and you get a big comfy seat, you get good food. I get boneless chicken wings, and then I get a Long Island iced tea. That's what I did for the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I was just like 2 Long Island iced teas, a Diet Coke, and then boneless chicken wings, and I'm having the time of my life there. That's the only time I go to the movies now if I get the
that's my boy Seymour. 2 Long Islands, you got the chicken wings. That sounds like a plan, man. That sounds really good. But you know, the interesting thing too, though, with this announcement is it's almost like it feels like very tip of the iceberg, because Sony created a whole division now. Sony Pictures Experiences, I think they called it. So I don't think this is the start and stop of this. I think they're looking to get into other entertainment venues, Sony. Mm-hmm. Maybe they get into, I don't know what, but maybe they do experiences Universal is actually doing a Halloween Horror Nights experience in Vegas. That's going to be opening up, I think, in a few years or something like that. Maybe Sony gets into something like that. Maybe they do some sort of thing. It's not a theme park. I don't think Sony's going to do theme parks. But maybe these themed experiences on the Vegas Strip or in various big cities, stuff like that. The fact that they're creating a whole division for this, it seems like it's just the beginning, and I'm very curious in what direction they kind of go with it. You know?
Yeah. Sorry, Seymour.
Oh, you can go.
Oh, I was going to say because when you look at Disney, right? They have studio, and they have a bunch of studios under them, right? Then they have theme parks, cruise line, and then also a few Disney stores they still have kind of around the country.
Flagship-y, I think the New York one's still around or something, but yeah.
Right, yeah. So, and then now Disney is finally getting back more into video games, right? So Disney they have all these entertainment avenues they're going in, right? But with the whole thing with streaming and then theaters kind of slowly dying, I feel like a lot of studios, and with the cost of production and making movies and shows is going up, right? We keep hearing about all that. I think a lot of studios are trying to find other ways to make money, such as buying that movie theater, right? And what Jack was saying, possibly making more entertainment experiences from that studio company.
Interesting. Now, Seymour, I want to ask you a question. You've been following AMC and stuff, and I wanted to ask you, because AMC is one of the biggest or maybe the biggest theater chains in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would a studio have an issue buying that one because it's so big? Do you think there would be some kind of like monopoly regulator issues when it comes to that, or you think it would be?
It would really depend. I think Sony was smart what they did with this one, and because it's not a bigger one, I think it was like the seventh biggest movie theater
Right.
chain in the U.S. And when they put it, that created that new division, they put the CEO in charge of that, and basically everyone that was working is not getting laid off. They're really smart because they wanted to get this approved, right? They don't
Yeah.
want the regulators coming in and saying, what are you doing? They don't want another Microsoft where they acquire a video game company and then lay off everyone. No. They're creating a whole new division, and I think they did that to ensure that people's, and plus they're Japanese, where the
Yeah.
culture is very strong, so they don't like laying off people. It's like the worst thing they can do. But yeah, for that it's great, so they can get passed by. AMC, I think it will be a little harder unless they're on the verge of bankruptcy, and they say if they don't get bought out, they declare bankruptcy. Then I can see it happen, because that's what happened to Sprint. T-Mobile was buying Sprint, and then they had to go to court for like a year or two, and it took a very long time to get approved. But at the end, it was like, oh, if you don't approve this, they're going to declare bankruptcy. They can't survive.
Well, the things like that, AMC was saved by a meme stock, right? And then Regal's, I think Regal's parent company, was it Cinemark, right? Filed for bankruptcy, I believe. So you have two big movie theater chains that were pretty much about to go under, right? So if that happens again, Seymour, do you think another big studio company will swoop right in and then pick up one of those bad boys?
AMC is not getting saved from being the meme stock, unfortunately. They keep diluting shareholders and to get more money, and the stock still goes down and down and down. I don't know. It's basically they're just they're trying to put the brakes on the bankruptcy by getting more money, but at the end of the day, it gets to a point where the stock goes down and you're only like 20 cents worth, and you can't do it anymore.
Right.
It's right now it's at $4.99, and the company's only valued at 1.7 billion.
Oh,
And
wow.
before the dilution, right? And then and they're not making any money. They're losing money. You can't just simply just keep diluting shareholders just to get money. No, they're going to go bankrupt sooner or later if no one buys them out. That's the
Well,
unfortunate part.
so when do you foresee them see more like opening up a bid for someone to buy them out?
For the longest time, Disney or Amazon, there were the rumors that they were going to buy AMC for the longest time. I remember during COVID that Disney, the biggest rumor was that Disney was going to buy AMC.
Interesting.
That would be wild. Oh
Yeah.
man.
There was, and I think it was, and from what I remember, there was like Disney's going to break off from going to movie theaters. They had like a rule where you can't release a movie after 128 20 days or something. There was a rule where you can't put it on streaming, and then
I remember
Disney's like, oh, okay, then fine. We're not gonna go put movies out in the movie theater. We're just gonna go straight to streaming. Forget the movie theater business. And then there was a rumor that like, okay, well, if Disney can't get their way, they're just gonna buy them out because they're cheap right now, because it was COVID and everything was down and all this stuff. But then it never happened. And then Amazon rumored of it. They bought MGM Studios, and they were thinking about doing it as well. And it would be the same thing that Sony's doing, right? They're going to release their own content and their own movies in the movie theater. And then the studios, if they do it, Amazon doesn't need to make money off the movie theaters, right? They could just go in there so you can view it. If you have like an Amazon Prime membership, right? Imagine if you get that and you just go to an AMC owned by Amazon and you just watch the movies for free.
What if Netflix bought some movie theater chains?
What do you?
No. For that, I do not see, because their business right now is 100% streaming.
Right.
And if you're trying to reteach people to go back to the movies, that would actually I think that would backfire on Netflix.
Yeah.
You don't want that, because people are now, after COVID, they just, they were at home. Families are now learning that, I could just stay at home and, buy pizza and watch streaming. They don't want to go backwards, because I think it's going to hurt the streaming numbers. And no, I don't think Netflix should do it. Netflix, even when they release a movie like Knives Out 2, they do it for like 2 weeks and then take it out. It's purely for promotion, nothing else.
Well, so then that means like that Sony then would have to try to figure out a way how to get all their new movie theaters get butts in the seats then, because otherwise you just bought a chain that's maybe I don't know how well they were doing it now, so I don't know, but like they gotta still have business in there.
Well, they do, but see, and they were smart though, because they bought a theater chain that is much more of an experience. It's not like Alamo Drafthouse is much more of an event kind of thing that you go to. It's not like going to like your local Regal or something.
Oh, okay.
Like you can drink there. It's a unique kind of vibe. So I think that separates it from the average.
Yeah, they will have a higher margin of business, and they don't need to have more theaters compared to AMC because of that. And also, Sony doesn't have a streaming service besides their anime one, Crunchyroll. So they don't need that revenue coming into streaming as much as Netflix does.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Gentlemen, fantastic conversation. Webba, when you said swoop right in, I was trying to get to my sound effect. I didn't get there in time, brother, but better late than never, right?
That's right, man.
There we go. Mr. Seymour Duck, always a pleasure, sir. We love nerding out with you. If you can let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, I just have one question, though. Is Bridgerton actually good? My friend keeps telling me to watch it, and I'm like, maybe. And then there was a Doctor Who episode that was like a tribute to it, and I liked it. But I'm like, still maybe. But it's on Netflix, so I don't have to pay anything extra.
I watched. I think it was the first 2 seasons and the spinoff Queen Charlotte. Queen Charlotte was my favorite, actually. The spinoff was absolutely incredible. I love that franchise, and I didn't think I would. I actually ended up. I watched it a few years ago with my ex-girlfriend, and it was like it's one of these like English romance things, and you're like, I don't know, am I gonna like this? It's actually really good. It's a great franchise. I really want to see the new season.
I heard good things about the soundtrack.
Yeah, well, the soundtrack is interesting too. How they incorporate like modern music, but in that era, the way it's composed is like in that era. But it's like they'll have like Beyonce songs, but it's done in like with the violins and everything. It's crazy. It's very creative. It's a great show. Just check it out. I think you might like it. Might like it.
Sorry about that, but yeah, I just wanted to know.
No, absolutely. But yeah, if you can let everybody home know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, you can find me on X at Mr. Seymour Duck.
There he is, and our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Mr. Webba, swooping in. There he is. If you can let everybody at home, Mr. Webba, know where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. OG, thank you so much for having me on. As always, it's a pleasure to talk with you gentlemen and nerding out about studios and movies and all that good stuff in Tiana's woke business. But you know what? Yeah. Just kidding, guys. Okay, so yeah, you can find me, Mr. Webba, at Webslinger760 on Twitter and on Instagram. Now, you can also find me here with these 2 sexy hot gentlemen on OG55.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Comment down below with all your thoughts on everything we discussed today. The Tiana gift baskets, Alamo Drafthouse being bought up by Sony, Inside Out 2 becoming an absolute juggernaut at the box office. Absolute craziness. We would love to hear from you. Comment down below. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG55. Oh, by the way, programming note, the Italiano will be back in the house on Monday for videos. Will be Monday. He'll be back. So I just want to let you guys know. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.